coming at you with a surprise reaction to the Fantastic Four First Steps official trailer because, of course, I'm a superhero fan, and with that being said, obviously Marvel has been going through a lot of things financially speaking, but when it comes to Fantastic Four and the release date, as far as this particular year, co-signing or coinciding with James Gunn's Superman movie, everyone knows that, of course, we have to look at the box office. So yes, I took it upon myself to transform into the GOAT, Grace Randolph herself, which, shameless plug, make sure to check her out beyond the trailer. I'm pretty sure y'all have heard of her if you're even tuning into this reaction to this official trailer, because we're about to get into the box office numbers, because everybody is saying that the MCU is falling off, but analytically speaking, a lot of these movies have been performing well, with the exception of a couple, right? And of course, the latest being Captain America Brave New World, as it is set to sell approximately 414 million. But of course, it is falling short of those estimates, as it is likely not to break even, with the budget being around 500 to 625 million. Of course, the production budget was 200 to 250 million and is currently at around 400 million as far as box office gross. So we could say, when it comes to Captain America Brave New World, quality set to the side, it is not performing the best, but it's still, since it's the latest installment in the MCU, it still has a chance to break even. But of course, now let's transition into the movie that preceded that, which was Deadpool and Wolverine, that came out July 26, 2024. That, of course, broke even, but not only broke even, it's one of the more successful films that MCU has put out, making it one of the highest grossing MCU films since Spider-Man No Way Home. So with that being said, MCU technically is performing on a metric that definitely discredits all of the notion that it's basically falling off in the eyes of the public. People are still going out to see MCU films, no matter if it's Deadpool and Wolverine, because obviously they have other superheroes under his belt that could still perform on the likes of a Deadpool and Wolverine movie, like we're about to see with the 2 Avengers movies coming up. But with that being said, of course, we got to get into the Marvels, as personally, I enjoyed that movie. So safe to say I'm in the minority when it comes to that sentiment, because a lot of people didn't even go watch the film, as it's one of the biggest flops in MCU history, and it's the lowest grossing MCU film ever in the box office, with only $206 million gross. Now, of course, what was the budget? What was the break-even threshold? Way above that, as the production budget was $275 million. The break-even threshold was $687 million. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a ginormous flop. Now, that being said, then we transition to Guardians of the Galaxy, which is why I brought up James Gunn as far as the Superman release, because that was the other successful film in the MCU, as that not only broke even, but ended up being one of the better performing MCU movies of all time. So with that being said, James Gunn definitely earned his right to direct the Superman movie and even be the mascot as far as the creative director of the modern DCU that we're about to see, especially with them recasting for Batman and not using Robert Pattinson's Batman, because that director for that movie wants Batman in his own universe for some reason, right? So with that being said, and then of course last but definitely not least is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which interestingly enough broke even. And not only did it break even, it had additional revenue from Disney Plus home media and merchandising, to the point where it ended up being a success and it benefited from the ancillary revenue. So though profits was very minimal, technically it was a success on the financial metric. Now, the only reason I'm bringing it up, because, you know, it's notorious Mass Effect. We try to get into the masses and the effect that these particular films had on the masses, that definitely takes away the point that the MCU has fallen off, because with the past 5 movies, 3 of them have been successful on a financial metric. Now, quality wise is subjective, right? If somebody doesn't like the movie, somebody else could walk away and think it's the best MCU movie ever made. Somebody on planet Earth is looking at the Marvels as a masterpiece. They're looking at the camera and they're telling their audience, or if they're not an influencer, they're telling the homies or girls or whatever, that, hey, it was straight cinema. Now, of course, it's probably a very minority. It's a very small percentage of people who are saying that, if there are any, who's saying the Marvels is a masterpiece. But technically, well, personally, I like the movie. So as far as the past 5 movies, I would think that they're on a great track. And I like Captain America Brave New World. I don't know what the overall negative reception was about that movie. I think the only thing is them spoiling the Red Hulk. But of course, y'all probably came for my reaction for the official trailer for the Fantastic Four First Steps. So I had to get into why I was such a superhero snob just in general, because every piece of superhero content I am thoroughly entertained by. I'm talking about the latest being Invincible, whether it's The Boys, whether it's DCU, whether it's MCU. I don't have no allegiance to any of these companies. I really enjoy superhero content. So with that being said, I know Daredevil just came out with their season finale, so shout out to them. I'm definitely not watching that. I'm not gonna lie to you. Personally, when I was watching that show, Daredevil didn't suit up for like 2-3 episodes, and I was like, hold up, is this a lawyer show or a superhero show? So I was confused. I stopped watching. So that being said, if you enjoyed that, then I guess at the finale they made up for it. But with that out the way, let's get into the Fantastic Four First Steps official trailer. And the movie is coming out only in theaters July 25th. So let's get into that right now. Oh, also, Analytic Dreams video on Spotify to see the video along with the audio, because we're getting into the official trailer. So if you want to see it, go to Analytic Dreams video on Spotify to see the video along with the audio. With that being said, let's get back into the trailer.
Wow, folks, we all know the story. 4 brave astronauts head up into space and come back forever changed.
This car?
Our city.
I like the aesthetic they're going with. I know it's more of a throwback, but I like how they're setting up their universe, because I don't know if this is spoilers or not. It's just a prediction. Let's just put it like that, because technically the movie's not out, so I don't know what happened. But I'm just going to predict that the whole world gets destroyed, right? Spoiler alert. Well, it's not really a spoiler. The movie's not out. I'm just guessing. If I'm on the nose, then hey, I guess you could say I spoil in the movie. But the way that the Avengers movies are set up, there's no way that the Fantastic Four is going to be set in a universe with none of the other superheroes, right? You're telling me that Fantastic Four has their own universe right before Avengers Doomsday happens. I wonder who could cause their universe or their world to collapse, because obviously they're not staying by themselves. They're going to join the Avengers at some point. So I'm just going to go out on a whim and say that Fantastic Four, this collective of the Fantastic Four, is going to be destroyed horribly. It's going to be one of the worst superhero group performances we've ever seen, because they couldn't protect the whole planet. Forget just their city, their state, their country. I feel like the whole planet gonna get destroyed. And if that happens, this may go down as one of the worst assembly of Fantastic Four roster as far as in the lore, right? This version of the Fantastic Four group may go down as the worst Fantastic Four group of all time. Anyways, let's get back into
Our planet owe a debt to these intrepid souls. And while we can never repay them, we can certainly celebrate them.
Thank you, Fantastic Four. Thank you.
Thank you, Fantastic Four!
all of them thinking just to get wiped off.
Herbie, how's that sauce looking? Okay. That is fantastic.
You're late.
What do you mean?
What do you mean, what do I mean? You're late for dinner.
Yes, we are.
You late?
I just said that.
Are you pregnant?
What? You're gonna be the best mom in the world. And you are gonna be the best dad. Just kidding. You are out of your depth.
Okay, so I always enjoyed the family dynamic of the Fantastic Four. But of course, as a Spider-Man fanatic, if you don't know, I think Spider-Man is the greatest fictional creation of all time. So of course, with Human Torch, about to get on my nerd tip for a second, pause. But with Human Torch and Spider-Man's dynamic, I wonder if they had that in mind as far as who they were casting for Human Torch as far as his interaction with Spider-Man. Because it has to happen. They have one of the greater, what they say, bromances as far as Iron Man and Captain America. They call that bromance. The Human Torch and Spider-Man in the comics have always had back and forth as to where Spider-Man at one point became a part of the Fantastic Four because one of the storylines, Human Torch got knocked off. So when it came to that storyline, Spider-Man was the one that joined the Fantastic Four. So I wonder if they kept that into consideration when they were when they was doing the casting call for the Human Torch, because the dynamic between Tom Holland and I don't know who plays Human Torch, but this actor and Tom Holland, I wonder if their dynamic have already been like screen tested or whatever. But anyways, let's get back into it.
We're gonna be the best uncles ever.
We can do this. Nothing's going to change.
Hey, don't let Namor hear that.
Are you the protectors of this world?
Yes, we are.
Your planet is now.
Oh, okay. This is another thing. You know what? As far as gamers and just what we call the nerd niche, right? As far as anime, gaming, cosplay, and all that stuff considered, one of the worst stereotypes we have is how we treat women. I ain't gonna lie to you, the reaction to the Silver Surfer, y'all should be ashamed of yourself. At some point, we have to realize if the character is not specifically locked to a region, gender and race bending is on the table for any and every iteration. It's different if Black Panther came up and he was Jason Tatum, or not Jason Tatum, if he was Channing Tatum, right? Black Panther can't be casted as Channing Tatum. But Silver Surfer, who's literally silver, who's the protector of Galactus, it feels like people are reaching saying that Silver Surfer shouldn't be a woman. When in the comics, there's a lot of versions of Silver Surfer, and they even have a woman version of Silver Surfer. Who would have thunk that MCU was actually sticking to source material when they gender bent Silver Surfer instead of everybody grifting and getting mad whenever there's like a woman who is on front screen as far as them genre bending a popular character, right? It's really interesting, and that is one of the more negative stereotypes we have in the nerd niche. That's what I'm gonna call it, because that's just unacceptable as far as the backlash from Silver Surfer. Like, we ain't even seen the movie yet, and they're already saying that she's the worst part of the film. I'm like, how is that possible? Anyways, let's get back into it.
For death.
It's my fault. I stretched the bounds of space. And they hurt.
Are we safe?
I don't know.
Oh, that's gonna give them hope.
I'm not giving up. We will face this together. We will fight it together.
Oh, hold up. That frame rate was terrible. And I know I'm not dropping frames on my side. What was that scene? Hold up.
We will fight it together. We will face this together.
I don't know. That frame rate was struggling a little bit.
As a family. Has to be us.
We will protect.
Yeah, they all gonna die. I ain't gonna lie, the whole planet finna get wiped out. And of course, the little sneak peek of Galactus. But as you can see, July 25th is when it's all going down. And at the end of the day, the financial battle between the DCU and the MCU will officially start, because James Gunn is making his movie debut as far as spearheading the DCU movement with the Superman movie. Now, of course, analytically, I do think the Superman movie is going to perform a lot better than the Fantastic Four movie. But of course, quality-wise, I think that's the main thing as far as what they should be considered about or concerned about. Because if this movie comes out and is not good at all as far as going into the Avengers movie, it's going to be hard to get people to the Avengers movies or get the hype level to a point where Endgame, where Infinity War was, because of course the lead up to it, right? The lead up to Doomsday and the other Avengers movie that's coming right after this, I'm not gonna lie, it hasn't been the greatest, but this movie could set it up in a way where it could build up anticipation to the point where Infinity War and Endgame level hype could be achieved. But we'll have to wait and see. That was the official trailer for the Fantastic Four First Steps trailer. With that being said, click my link tree in my bio. Let me know on one of my social medias. What do you think about the official trailer of the Fantastic Four? What do you think about the casting of the Fantastic Four? And what do you think about the overall plot and the MCU's battle with not only their own fans, but also the DCU spearheaded by James Gunn.